Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And this is kind of a bit of a refresher from some previous culture war and or social media news we've covered here on the channel. But I saw this headline pop up today and I wanted to bring this back to the forefront again for people to kind of have a refresher on what we're facing. Now, if you've been a follower of this channel for quite some time, then you clearly know a lot of this. And of course, while we're on the topic, be sure you check out the various social media platforms that I belong to below this video so you can see my daily posts there. So from the Hill, on the front lines of America's culture wars, cable news. Every day when I wake up, I turn on cable TV news to see what I missed while I was sleeping. That's a dedicated person. I stopped expecting anything that even vaguely resembles an honest, down-the-middle newscast a long time ago. Biased journalism is not exactly something new, but what I'm getting now on a seemingly endless loop is something new, I think, or at least something different. So he says here, what they say here, this is Mario, what I'm witnessing now each morning is America's divisive culture war playing out on television. So even before breakfast, we're being fed a steady diet of information that divides us, that tries to convince us that the other side is not simply wrong, but is on a mission to destroy America. What a lovely way to start the day, right? Now, if you've been a member of this channel, as I said earlier, you already know that this war has been going on for quite some time. And some of us argue that it started maybe a little before President Trump's actual inauguration or him coming down the escalator, because this was kind of building and mounting starting in 2014, if you guys recall, the safe spaces on campus, because some of these types of revolutions and protests and just the different activist groups kind of start on college campuses. So 2014 was about the time when we started learning about safe spaces and microaggressions. Of course, here from the Hidden Tribes website, I'm going way back in the archives. I tried to find some more content from the BuzWeaver archive that we often draw from, but it is massive and it can be challenging to find various content. But here we have the Hidden Tribes of America. Now, of course, this isn't exact science, but it gives you an illustration of where we are in society based upon the Hidden Tribes formula here on their graphs. And that is, you can see here, the far left wing, 8%, and then you have the traditional liberals at 11%, and then the passive liberals at 15%, and then, of course, the most coveted group is the politically disenchanted, or the middle. And then you got moderates and then traditional conservatives, which is the category I fall into as a traditional conservative, or a staunch conservative as it's called. Despite the word staunch, it just means that I believe in the ideologies and philosophies of the Founding Fathers, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and adhering to those ideas because they work and they're in place for a reason. And as we see now with Joe Biden, we can clearly see why the significance and importance of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights right now, because of what's happening and what we'll cover in the Friday vlog. So make sure you stay tuned. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. And of course, go ahead and click that like button. That way you guys will know what's going on, and it will help the channel as well because it is part of the engagement. Now, we already know some of the culture war and its effects. For example, Chase Bank shuts down Proud Boy leaders. This is Enrique Tarrio's personal bank account. Now, this is something we covered quite some time ago. As you can see, this article is from Waldo Crane going back to February 8th of 2019. So cancel culture and the warriors within cancel culture have no issues shutting people down or contacting various businesses, organizations, companies to try to get someone down. And the most probably, besides President Trump, the second most shut down individual, if I can frame it in that particular phrasing, is Laura Lomer, who's not only banned from Twitter, but she's banned from all sorts of places, which kind of started with Ilhan Omar. Here she is in the face of Michael Avenatti, who, of course, has been in his own situation and predicaments. And here we have a guy on the right who is all about, well, he's got the non-group related Antifa shirt, and he's got his little cute little apron on of Alex, who's the most banned person, I guess, besides Laura and maybe other people. And then we have a Kamala Harris person right here. So Laura Loomer banned from Twitter after criticizing Ilhan Omar. All she did was criticize Ilhan Omar, and we already know how people criticize President Trump, Republicans, and conservatives in general every single day on Twitter. Every single day on Twitter. Not to mention the recent attack or mischaracterization of Joe Rogan by CNN. Misinformation specifically. Misinformation about Joe Rogan. And, of course, nothing happened to CNN. Of course, instead of saying Ilhan Omar, Newsweek also had to add an additional punch to it by saying Laura Loomer banned from Uber and Lyft after anti-Muslim tweet storm. But it isn't just these particular, it isn't just like Lyft and Uber. She's also banned from her bank, Wells Fargo, as I understand it. Of course, Patreon or any of the other PayPal services, PayPal and stuff like that. Many of the banking services she's been kicked off of, which is all relating back to Ilhan Omar, because, of course, you can't go after the squad or the left without repercussions. And we know all about the repercussions because Gab created a new platform when all of this was starting to happen, and they too were facing their own problems when it comes here. See, credit card and debt payment processing is the final attack vector that our enemies have on us, and this is Gab saying they're not able to have payment processors. This is very similar to BitChute, who also can't get payment processors. Some of them aren't even able to get registrars as well. Gab was having that same problem, being able to get registrars or being able to have host servers for the actual platform. Some of them had to go out of state, out of country, to be able to get the platforms that they wanted, all because of cancel culture. And here we see Twitter rival Gab faces domain loss over extremist content. Now, of course, this is the terminology that we have talked about when it comes to hate speech and just the left redefining language, because they want it to be so impactful, right? They want things to be so impactful in their language and having so much weight behind it. So they use things like extremism, hate speech, and these sorts of things to add weight to their language. Now, of course, if you notice any of these dates, they're all like from 2017, 2018, and 2019, because we're kind of doing a review of this. And this has been going on for quite some time. Now, Gab is still around. It's still functioning. It's doing well. And even BitChute, you guys, if you're not following me on BitChute, which is another video hosting site, or what I refer to as New Tech, be sure you're following me there, as well as with Rumble. Now, Rumble is not a decentralized platform. It is a centralized platform. And we already know, I've mentioned it before, that my videos there actually get are ads free or demonetized when I mention the vaccine. So here again, Google explains why it banned the app from Gab, a right-wing Twitter rival. Now see, they also use extremists, they use right-wing, they use white supremacy, they use all of this language to make things sound worse than they really are, because people really don't necessarily have the time, the energy, or the effort to invest in researching these things to get kind of a clearer understanding of what's going on. So if you guys are following the channel, of course, that's kind of what I try to do here, is take the complicated, take the difficult, and try to make it simple, because you got to remember, the media, social media, are all a business, and they have to make money, and they do this by clicks. And of course, getting people's attention, getting people to click on their content is a way for them to get that, the earning, the AdSense, and revenue, and metrics, and telemetry, and all the things that we as YouTube creators also try to do. And it's really kind of sad, isn't it? If you think about it, when I first started doing YouTube, it was all about, it was fun, it was exciting, it was engaging, it was awesome to share things with people. I was always excited to bring content to people. And now what do we have to do as creators? We have to battle the AI. We have to reach out to our audience every single day in this redundant kind of mantra of make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. And it just really becomes very demanding and very tiresome, I would imagine, that viewers who want to come to content and enjoy and engage. Now imagine if your favorite television program had to do the same thing, Make sure you visit our sponsors. Make sure that you're checking out our advertisers. Make sure you just want to be able to go to the content, look at it, and enjoy it. But this is what cancel culture has brought to us today. This is where we are in the culture war. And on Friday's vlog, we're going to go over what I call America's facing its huge Bidenflation, or America's facing Bidenflation. The establishment as Molly Ball outlines in her article from Time Magazine, a cabal of people working together to fortify an election for a desired outcome. So we have a vote by mail president who is clearly having issues, as we talked about from Newsweek, where they point out the 5 things that you might have missed. No one's missing anything when it comes to Joe Biden. We already know what's going on with Joe Biden. And I'm not trying to be derisive, and I'm not trying to mock the man. He obviously suffers from cognitive decline. He struggles to get through sentences. He struggles in general. And it's unfortunate that he's being utilized and used the way that he is in the fashion that the establishment wants. Because as we know from the article from The Atlantic, Joe Biden, we just need your corporeal presence. So this is all catching up to the reality of what's going on is catching up to everyone. As I covered this week also when it comes to businesses asking for additional time on the vaccine mandate because they know people are going to leave. People have stood on their principles. They understand what's going on. They don't want a procedure done on their person because they have constitutional rights. This is still America. We're still in America. Don't forget that. Exercise your rights if you have them, or while you have them, I should say. And that way, we can send a clear message to government that, hey, yes, we tried to cooperate during the pandemic. We tried to, follow the rules. We tried to be, courteous and understanding and flexible. But now it's getting to a point where we moved from suggestion to recommendation to outright coercion and ultimatums and bullying. So that's what I had for you guys today on this Thursday, October the 28th. Be sure you guys stick around for the Friday vlog tomorrow. And of course, if you're watching this on New Tech, be sure you're following me there as I do some exclusives on that platform. And then here on YouTube, that would be the channel icon appearing right there on the screen to subscribe. You can click on that to obviously subscribe, along with notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I will see all of you guys in the Friday vlog.